Alright everyone, welcome back. So you can tell that I've been busy with this. I've been organizing hockey cards for the past 4 hours. A new shipment of cards that I got in the mail. It's a big ass stack, I'm not going to lie to you. But regardless, we're not here to talk hockey cards. We're here to talk about the Chicago Blackhawks and their prospect pool. And Chicago's pool might be one of the best pools in the league. We're not going to deny that. They have one of the best players we've seen in years come through the league. And definitely they're in for a bright future already, even 1 year into the rebuild. From our perspective, you could argue it's been like year 3, but it's year 1 officially of the rebuild. And we're going to talk about this today because it's insane. Like, how through 1 year they could build this. It's insane. But we'll start off here with Connor Bedard. I mean, there's really no other place where I really can't start. It's Bedard, center from North Vancouver, Canada, 5'10", 185 pounds. Really, is there anything much I need to say about Bedard? I've made so many videos on Connor Bedard in the past 2 months that I don't even really feel the need to say anything. But regardless, a 2-time WJC 20 winner. So he's won the World Juniors the past 2 years. Drafted first overall in 2023 this past draft. So really, no surprise there. You guys should have known that. And in 57 games played this past year with the Regina Pats, he had 71 goals, 72 assists for 143 points. So, of course, franchise player, no question there. I mean, I really don't even need to go into depth with it because you guys know Bedard. You guys know how good Bedard's going to be. You know everything about Connor Bedard, or at least you should. But, Bedard is going to be probably one of the best players we've seen in a long time. And that's what we've seen from statistics, and it's a good thing Chicago got him to help out with their pool. Outside of that, there are actually some pretty good prospects, and I like this pool a lot for Chicago for that reason. First off, you got Frank Nazar. Nazar is a center / right wing from Detroit, USA, 5'9", 174 pounds. And I'd like to mention that all 3 of these forwards we're going to cover are actually centers. So notably, Chicago is going to be pretty deep down the middle. But I would imagine Nazar, since he is a right wing, he will also play the right wing role as well. Because if you have Bedard, Nazar, and another guy I'm going to mention later on, it's a pretty crazy center core, if we're being honest. But Nazar, drafted 13th overall in 2022, looked at as a pretty solid pick. And then this past year, there was a little bit of a setback. I'm not going to lie. In 13 games played this past year with the University of Michigan, he had 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. And look, there's no denying that him getting hurt, he didn't get cut, he got hurt, is a concern. It absolutely is a concern. Is it a setback? Probably. Is it his fault? Not really. But he still can be a solid player nonetheless. Can be a good middle 6 forward there for Chicago. That's his upside I see of having. But nonetheless, even though he got injured, he's still a great player. There is no denying that whatsoever. It's just these things happen. Sometimes you face a setback, and it happens in every single world of business, not just hockey, not just sports. That happens in other businesses too. But I think Nazar will come out of it good. I definitely think he will. And hopefully, in another full season with Michigan, it just delays his development by probably 1 year, if we're being honest. But that's okay. Chicago is in no rush to be a cup contending team right now. I don't think they really would be. Especially with the season ticket sales, it's definitely not a problem. The other forward is Oliver Moore. And again, the 3 centers, that's insane. If they all pan out to be really good guys, you're insanely deep down the middle. Center from Mounds View, USA, 5'11", 194 pounds. I like Moore a lot. I was actually looking at Moore as I thought he was going to go maybe top 10. I thought he was going to go around the 9 or 10 slot, but he dropped to 19th at Chicago in 2023. Won the WJC 18 gold this past year as well, so he obviously has that in his resume. But as well as that, too, this past year with the U.S. national team, I believe he played with some notable players that we've talked about already in this Prospect Pool series. Moore has 31 goals, 44 assists for 75 points. Obviously, awesome stats there. Listed as a great skater, can create chances, and is good handling the puck and all that good stuff. So, yeah, Oliver Moore looking like a pretty good center and could be a good guy for Chicago there. And honestly, could even be a possible steal at 19th overall. I really like that pick for Chicago. And it's funny, too. And again, I'm going to go back to the center thing. If all those guys pan out, they're going to be really deep down the middle. Their offensive core could be insane. Not going to lie. And especially since in year 1, we have these players already. Imagine what we're going to have after next year. Because they will be bad next year. There's no question about that. They're going to be better, but they're still going to be bad. No denying it whatsoever. Bedard will make them competitive. It'll make them fun, but they're still going to be bad. There really is no denying it whatsoever, but hopefully, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Kevin Korchinski's up next. There, we move on to the defensive prospects. Korchinski is a defenseman from Saskatoon, Canada. 6'3", 185 pounds. He actually won some pretty decent hardware this past year. He was a WHL champion with the Seattle Thunderbirds. Drafted 7th overall in 2022 in the pick where they acquired, or pick where they traded for with Alex DeBrincat, all that stuff. Of course, DeBrincat's been on quite a journey since then. But regardless, Korchinski, I really like Korchinski a lot as a defenseman. I think he's one of the better prospects in the league. And I think he's definitely a little underrated than he should be. Definitely a really good defender. In 51 games played this past year with the Thunderbirds, he had 11 goals, 62 assists for 73 points. I think those stats are really good and great for a defenseman there, even though the CHL is a very high-scoring league and all that stuff. Highly talented, needs to work on his defensive game, though. That is an issue that I've seen with some articles saying needs to be better defensively, which is understandable. If you're more of an offensive defender, you're not going to be the best defensively. But, of course, if he works on that end, he could be a great two-way guy. And a guy who has size on his side as well when he comes over to the NHL for sure. So I like Korchinski a lot there. Odds are he could play some games this coming year. I would imagine he takes the next step over to the Rockford Ice Hogs. I believe that's their AHL affiliate. But regardless, I like Korchinski a lot there, and I think he could be a great player. And actually, all of these guys I believe that I'm covering here have not even played for Rockford. All of them have played in the junior leagues, whether it's college, NCAA, or the CHL. That's really where a lot of these guys have played. So keep that in mind. Next up then, after Korchinski, there isn't a lot of really good defensive prospects there in Chicago. I went with Ethan Del Mastro as another guy there. Defenseman from Freelton, Canada, 6'4", 205 pounds. He was a two-time WJC20 winner, so I believe he even won him with Bedard. So he has that chemistry there with Bedard. At least there's something there. They were on that team, so that's kind of something. Drafted 105th overall in 2021. Looked at to be actually a pretty solid pick there at 105th overall. And in this past year with the Sarnia Sting and the Mississauga Steelheads, he had 52 games played, 7 goals, 52 assists for 59 points. So definitely a solid player there. I've seen him listed as having top 4 upside. So definitely a guy that, could come into Chicago's defense as early as maybe even next season and play well. But of course, with all these guys, I wouldn't expect any of them to get NHL time besides Bedard and maybe Korchinski. Maybe Korchinski gets some time there. But apart from that, I don't see any of these guys getting NHL time whatsoever unless Bedard really struggles out of the gate, which I doubt happens. I severely doubt that. It's not going to be like Shane Wright. I highly doubt that. That's it for the defensive and forward prospects. We got the goalie prospect now. I've seen this guy be hyped up by Chicago for a while. Drew Commesso, goalie from Norwell, USA, 6'2", 181 pounds. Drafted 46th overall in 2020. He played 34 games this past year with the Boston University, had a 24-8-0 record, a 2.46 goals against average, and a .913 save percentage. I like Commesso a lot there. I've seen him be profiled as a highly touted prospect, and definitely looking at those stats, it puts pretty good odds for him to be a pretty solid guy, definitely for sure. So I like that a lot there for Chicago on the goaltending end. Potentially all these guys could see NHL time and could be a part of a next really good Chicago roster very, very soon. But of course, we'll find out what happens there. Other prospects that are in the pool that are worth mentioning, you got defenseman Sam Rinzel. You have defenseman Wyatt Kaiser, which I actually believe he might have been traded. Let me check. No, I mean, Kaiser was not the one that was traded. It was actually Alec Regula that I was thinking of. I apologize there, guys. I was thinking, he got traded in the Taylor Hall deal. He was not. My apologies. As well as that, too, Ford Paul Lewinsky is also another notable prospect there in Chicago's pool. But nonetheless, Chicago, the main 5 are pretty good, honestly. And I would imagine that even though Bedard will move out of that pool next season, when we look at next year's draft and I do this next year, odds are they're going to have even better prospects or even more prospects that are actually pretty good in their pool as well. So regardless, that's Chicago's prospect pool overview. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure you like, share, comment down below. I greatly appreciate it. Next up, I believe we have Minnesota's. If I'm correct, I might do something before that. I'm not entirely too sure. I want to get some more rookie reviews out there because we have about a week until season previews, which is crazy to think. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.